There is a quality to the light today, something softer. If you step outside this morning and pay attention, you may notice it. The air feels different, not warmer or colder, quieter. The colors are slightly muted, as if someone placed a thin veil of silk between you and the world. There is a hush that is not the same as the hush before the eclipse. That was anticipation. This is tenderness. Something in the sky has exhaled. After a week of fractures, revelations, convergences, and one blazing hour of Mercury's cazimi clarity, the cosmos has lowered its voice. It is still speaking, but the register has changed. The frequency has dropped. And what it is saying in this lower register, in this softer light, is worth hearing, because the feminine voice of the cosmos carries information that the louder frequencies cannot transmit. Yesterday's cazimi gave you clarity, a sentence, a decision, a flash of knowing that cut through weeks of fog. Today, that clarity does not disappear, it softens. It becomes tenderness. And tenderness in astrology is not weakness. It is a specific mode of intelligence that the cosmos is activating right now through 3 channels at once. Let me explain what I mean by feminine in astrology, because the word carries baggage that does not belong here. In astrological tradition, every planet, every sign, every element is assigned a polarity. Not male and female in the biological sense, yang and yin, projective and receptive, the force that acts and the force that receives, the hand that throws the stone and the water that accepts the stone and creates ripples. Both are necessary, neither is superior. The stone without the water is meaningless force. The water without the stone is still. These are not metaphors. They are principles of how energy moves. The masculine principle in astrology, the sun, Mars, fire signs, air signs, acts outward. It initiates, it declares, it builds, breaks, decides. The feminine principle, the moon, Venus, water signs, earth signs, acts inward. It receives. It gestates. It holds the space in which the declaration can land. It transforms raw force into nourishment. Every great creation in human history required both principles, the bold vision and the patient cultivation, the lightning flash and the long season of rain. In astrology, the feminine principle is associated most strongly with the moon, Venus, and the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. It is the principle of reception, intuition, gestation, patience, and the intelligence of the body. It is what knows without being told, what feels before evidence arrives, what creates by receiving rather than pursuing. It is the part of every person, regardless of gender, that listens before speaking, absorbs before analyzing, and trusts the body's knowing when the mind cannot yet articulate what it senses. Right now, the sky is saturated with feminine energy in a way that happens only a few times a year. Venus, the feminine planet of love and beauty, is in Pisces, the most feminine sign. The sun is in Pisces, the sign of dissolution and surrender. Mercury is retrograde in Pisces, editing the narrative from the inside rather than imposing corrections from the outside. The moon is waning, moving from fullness toward darkness, which in lunar astrology is the receptive half of the cycle. Every major body in the sky right now is operating in feminine mode. The cosmos is not pushing, it is pulling, not demanding, inviting, not building, receiving. And that shift, after a week of active, dramatic, sometimes overwhelming events, is not an accident. It is a response. The sky cracked open on February 27th. Mercury revised the story. The eclipse exposed the hidden truth. The stellium showed the convergence. The cazimi delivered the sentence. All of that was active energy, yang, force, illumination. And now the cosmos says, enough doing, time to receive. Here's what that actually looks like. The receptive mode is fundamentally different from the active mode, and most people in modern life have almost no practice with it. The active mode asks, what should I do? The receptive mode asks, what is arriving? The active mode seeks. The receptive mode notices. The active mode builds. The receptive mode holds. You know you are in receptive mode when insights arrive without being chased, when the answer to a question you stopped asking simply appears in the middle of an unrelated moment, when a person says something that lands in your chest with a weight you did not expect, when beauty stops you in the middle of a sentence and you cannot explain why, when tears come for no reason or for every reason at once. Sit with that for a moment. The moon is waning right now, moving from the full moon eclipse toward the new moon. In traditional astrology, the waning moon is the exhale, the letting go, the composting phase, where what was fully illuminated at the full moon begins to break down, to be absorbed, to feed the soil for the next cycle. The waning moon does not build. She metabolizes. She takes the raw experience of the eclipse week and transforms it into something the body can use. Not the mind, the body. Because the body has a different processing speed than the mind. The mind can analyze an eclipse in an afternoon. It can name what happened, construct a narrative, assign meaning, and move on. The body cannot. The body needs to feel every layer, the shock, the grief, the relief, the recognition, the quiet reorganization of the nervous system that follows any genuine truth. The waning moon gives the body the time it needs, and if you work with the waning energy rather than against it, the integration happens naturally. You do not need to force understanding. Understanding comes in its own time, like sleep, like healing, like the slow warming of soil in early spring. Venus in Pisces deepens this further. Venus has been in Pisces for a week now, and she is approaching the degrees where Neptune waits. Venus approaching Neptune is like two bodies of water meeting. There is no collision, no boundary, just a gradual merging until you cannot tell where one ends and the other begins. In your life, this manifests as heightened sensitivity to beauty, to music, to the emotional undercurrents in every conversation. You may find that art moves you more than usual this weekend, that a particular piece of music opens something in the chest that does not want to close. That a mundane moment, washing dishes, watching rain, sitting in traffic, suddenly becomes luminous with meaning you cannot articulate. That is Venus approaching Neptune in Pisces. The membrane between ordinary and sacred has dissolved. Everything is both. The Sun in Pisces provides the season for all of this. Pisces season is the final stretch of the astrological year. It is the 12th sign, the dissolution before the rebirth. Just as winter must fully end before spring can begin, Pisces must fully dissolve the structures of the past year before Aries can ignite the new one. In Pisces season, the edges of identity soften. The firm sense of who you are and what you want, which Aquarius season sharpened in February, begins to blur. Not because you are losing yourself, because you are returning to the larger field from which the self emerges. The fish in the ocean does not lose itself in the water. It remembers that it was always part of the water. Pisces season is the remembering. And this year, with Saturn and Neptune about to conjoin at the very first degree of Aries on March 20th, Pisces season carries an additional weight. It is not just dissolving the past year. It is dissolving the past 36 years. The entire Saturn-Neptune cycle that began in 1989 is composting in these final weeks. What grew from those seeds? What was built on that foundation? What was dreamed in that era is returning to the soil. And you can feel it. In the heaviness that is not depression, in the nostalgia that is not sadness, in the sense that something is ending that you cannot name but your body knows. And Mercury retrograde, now in its second half, supports this with its own feminine intelligence. The first half of Mercury retrograde was disruptive, confusing, fog-heavy. The cazimi was the turning point. And now, in the second half, Mercury is moving back through degrees it has already visited 3 times. First direct, then retrograde, now approaching direct again. This triple pass is not redundancy. It is depth. Each pass reveals a new layer. The first pass showed the surface. The retrograde pass showed the interior. The coming direct pass will show the integration. Right now, in this window between cazimi and direct station, Mercury is operating in its most feminine mode, receiving information rather than broadcasting it, editing silently rather than announcing the corrections. You may notice that your inner dialogue has quieted this weekend. Not stopped, quieted. The volume has been turned down on the mental chatter, and in the space that creates, something else can speak. Intuition, the body, the dream you had last night that you almost dismissed, but that keeps circling back. Here is how this feminine energy lands for each sign. The actions today are rooted in reception, not pursuit. Aries, the feminine energy lands in your 12th house. Your dreams are carrying intelligence right now. Your action, when you wake tomorrow, lie still for 2 minutes before reaching for your phone. Notice what is present in the body before the mind takes over. Taurus, your 11th house. A friendship is speaking to you in a language that is not words. Someone's presence is telling you something that their conversation has not. Your action, spend time with one person today and listen with your body, not your mind. What does their energy tell you? Gemini, your 10th house. There is a softness trying to enter your professional life, and your instinct is to resist it. Softness in a career context feels dangerous. It is not. Your action. Do one thing at work this weekend that prioritizes care over efficiency. Cancer. The feminine energy is strongest for you right now. Your 9th house is active, and the moon rules your sign. Every channel is open. Your action. Take a walk without a destination. Let your feet choose. What you arrive at is the message. Leo, your 8th house. The intimacy channel is wide open. Something unspoken between you and another person is trying to surface, not through confrontation, but through tenderness. Your action: sit with someone you love in silence for 5 minutes. What fills the silence is more honest than words. Virgo, your 7th house. The eclipse was in your sign. The cazimi illuminated the relationship axis. Today, the feminine mode asks you to stop analyzing and simply feel the person across from you. Your action: notice one thing about your partner or closest person that has nothing to do with what they do and everything to do with who they are. Libra, your 6th house. The daily routines are asking to be held differently, not optimized, honored. The cup of tea, the morning stretch, the walk to the mailbox. Your action: perform one daily ritual with complete presence. Treat it as sacred, even if it is ordinary. Scorpio, your 5th house. Creativity and joy are speaking in feminine voice today. The impulse is not to make something impressive, it is to make something true. Your action: create one thing today that no one will see. A sketch, a sentence, a melody hummed in the shower. Let it exist only for you. Sagittarius, your 4th house. Home is speaking. The walls are carrying a frequency. The space you live in is reflecting something back at you today that is worth seeing. Your action: sit in the quietest room of your home. Close your eyes. Ask what this room knows about you that you have forgotten. Capricorn, your 3rd house. The feminine principle in your communication house asks you to listen more than you speak today. There is a message arriving in the spaces between words. Your action: in your next conversation, listen for what is not being said. The pause, the deflection, the subject that is avoided. That is the message. Aquarius, your 2nd house. Self-worth is a feminine quality when you stop measuring it by output. Today, your value is not what you produce, it is what you hold. Your action: identify one thing you carry for others that you have never been thanked for. Thank yourself. That is the reception. Pisces, the feminine energy is your element. Every planet in your sign is singing in your key. You are more yourself today than you have been all year. Your action: do nothing for 1 hour. Not strategic nothing, not meditative nothing with a goal. Actual nothing. Sit in a chair. Look out a window. Let whatever arrives, arrive. This is the hardest action in the list and the most important. The quality of the light I mentioned at the beginning, the softness, the veil, the lowered register, that is not going away this weekend. It deepens tomorrow when Jupiter stands still before turning direct. There is something extraordinary about the combination. The most feminine sky of the year meeting the largest planet's moment of absolute stillness. When Jupiter pauses, everything pauses with it. And in that pause, the feminine intelligence of this week can settle into the body and become knowing that does not require proof. The clarity the cazimi gave you, the sentence you wrote, is still there. But today it is being held in softer hands. And softer hands do not mean weaker hands. Reached the part of you that has been. Reached the part of you that has been holding too tightly. Let that part exhale. You have done enough this week. You have cracked open, revised, sat in silence, opened the heart, witnessed the eclipse, integrated, found the thread, witnessed the convergence, and received the cazimi sentence. Today, the cosmos is saying, rest, receive. Let what you have gathered settle into the bones. The light I described at the beginning of this video, the soft one, the one that invites rather than demands, that light is not outside you. It is the light you carry when you stop performing strength and allow yourself to simply be held. And I will see you in the next one.